Okay, let's call our December meeting of the Allendale County Council to order. We'll ask Mr. Bill Robinson to get the invocation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. Oh, Heavenly Father, we beseech Thee for this day, for this time, and for those that are present. May we collectively do what's best for this county. These are no blessings we ask in our holy and most merciful name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, all council members are present. Before we approve the agenda, I'd like to amend the agenda under new business, item 12. I'd like to do a first reading of the ordinance for District Allendale County pursuant of the 2020 census. I want to add that under new business.
Make a motion that we do.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? All right. Motion's approved. Approval of the November 18th minutes, regular council meeting.
So move, we approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? All right. All right, special call council meeting minutes on December 2nd.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Second.
All right. All right, welcome everybody to the county council meeting. I guess first we got on the agenda tonight, it's going to be citizens' comments. Ms. Ann Rice?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
I'm sorry
to interrupt. You didn't carry that motion. Please make sure it's official.
What?
The second, the
Okay.
special call meeting on.
Special call council meetings, we had a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. All right, Ms. Ann, now you can get up there and talk.
Good evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Evening.
I just want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about what, with a lot of help of other people, that we've been able to accomplish over the last 30 years. Everything we've ever done has been for the good of the county. No selfish motives, nothing like that. Way back, we brought to the county council that we needed a countywide fire department. That was the first beginning of it. We helped get a chamber started way back, though it's no longer functioning as a chamber. We got Allendale County Live started and gotten the national recognition in 10 years of grants from them. When the courthouse burned down, the Leadership Institute led the effort for the reopening and the ceremony. We did it all and got it done. We got the Leadership Institute started. We got money for the road and the Institute building that's over there. The Salkatchie Arts Center, that was the Leadership Institute doing that. Salkatchie Stew. When we started with the library, it was the Leadership Institute that led that effort and got money for that. When the first penny sales tax came along, we led that effort, and it was quite a successful effort. I think it's something the county had never done before, and we helped get that done. We helped get money for the DSS building that's built over there. We created the Lower Savannah River Alliance, which is still in existence. It's not real active right now because of COVID, but we got USDA grants to do repairs out there. We got the trail fixed. We got the fishing pier built under the bridge, the Carolina Theater. We were able to get almost $1 million to renovate that jewel that we have in town. And since I've been at SC, I was retired, and Danny Black asked me to come back and work as the rebranding person for Allendale County, and I have really tried to do that since I've come back. We got the new signs for the county. We redid the county website and populated it with information on the county. It now has 50 historical sites listed on it. We do a Facebook page all for Allendale County with news every day from the county, good news, the good things that are going on in the county. And we did videos of successful people in the county and why they love Allendale County. We helped facilitate the broadband for the airport. We made the connection there for them. I was just at a meeting one night talking with the people in Walterboro, and I said, why can't we have broadband at the airport? And we're able to make that connection, and so hopefully we'll have it before too long. The mural downtown, and as you know, we've had 2 huge cleanup plans, and I think people have, it's still a lot of trash, but I think there are some people doing better. As a result of that, SCA got a grant to hire a coordinator for cleanup for Allendale and Barnwell and Bamberg counties, and that person will be coming on for 2 years to help Allendale County get certified as a Palmetto Pride County. we were able to get the Smithsonian Traveling Exhibit to come in 2023. It's Voices and Votes. It's talking about the democratic process and how we got it here and promoting it. And that would be held at USC Salkehatchie. And we also have the State Humanities Festival that will be held there in September in 2023. We hold joint municipal and county meetings, and we have a really big, important one coming up in January for all the municipalities in the county to come together to talk about mutual interest. We've reorganized the Allendale County Historical Society with a temporary board and have applied for the 501c3 status, and we've received $16,685 grant from Humanities for this in the museum. I just wanted to bring this to y'all's attention to remind you that we have been looking forward and visionary for the county. And when I asked for the War Memorial Building to be made a museum, I truly believe that that's the best use for that building. I did not mean to hurt the election commission. I truly believe that there's a place that they can be just as effective, because I really believe they're very important. I don't want to hurt them, but I really think that building was built to be a museum. It's a War Memorial Building. So I do hope that y'all will consider that when y'all have your meetings. But I just wanted to bring this to all your attention to remind you that everything that's been done has been done.
Okay.
And if I may, Mr. Chair, I'd like to address Ms. Ann. Ms. Ann, this has nothing to do with your personal
I know
want to
that.
make it a museum, but we did not give that building to the sheriff department when they asked for it. And so that's one of my concerns. And also, we got employees that's working there now, and it's so feasible for the citizens already know what to do now. It's so easy to go in and out of, and we don't want to come, and so election is coming up, and we don't want to do anything to our citizens to throw them off with this election that's coming up. And that building is suitable for, because there's so many guidelines that we have to go by for the voter registration office. And we just want to make sure that we please the citizens of Allendale County. No reflection on you. I thank you for all the service that you've done for Allendale County. But I just, like I said, we would not give it to, they brought up before, wanted to give it to the sheriff's department. And I just feel that if we didn't give it to the sheriff's department, the building should remain as is, if that's what our director wants to do. And I'm just one vote.
And I think, Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
I think that the general consensus of this council, from day one and from the time that we entertained the War Memorial Building for the Historical Society or the County Museum was to make certain that as we did our research, that Ms. Prentice was satisfied with the location, and we had 2 or 3 different locations that we looked at. And I think the stipulation was she being satisfied with the locations. That's one of the stipulations. And I think that process is ongoing, and I think we're going to meet on Monday to look at the additional sites and, make a determination. But
Just remember, there's also another building that's in the process. And if this doesn't go, then that building will be sold for something else.
Sure.
And it will not be a county building, and you may not like what goes in.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Next, we got the Allendale County Sheriff's Department. Deputy Rowell's not here, so I'm going to call up Deputy Evans and Mr. Anthony Taylor.
Anthony Taylor.
Good evening. We wanted to make sure y'all didn't have any questions about the 800 system that we was talking about last time, the radio and stuff that we are going to have to replace. Mr. Taylor can answer any questions if y'all have more than what I could.
Okay. We got some firm figures on that, Jim, if you don't, we got some firm figures on what it's going to cost. Is there any grant money out there to help us with the cost of this, and what is our deadline, or?
So yeah, there is some grants out there. I know that one of the grants is the ARP funds that's currently available right now. Typically it was passed down to use a lot for COVID and different things of that nature, but it also can be used for radio communication services as well. That's one of the most active ones right now. Of course, there's JAG grants that's out there for law enforcement, there's things like that that's usually annually. Those that we have to be applied for, that kind of thing. Certain criteria has to be met in order to be able to get those grants for you. The ARPS is pretty much a grant that's very, very flexible. And is one that you don't really have to apply for, it's just given. So, but there are grants that come available from time to time throughout the year, annually, and those basically typically most times the county will have a grant writer that will write grants to seek those funds to be able to use them for particular reasons such as radio communications and that kind of thing of that nature. So yeah, there are some grants that are available that can be used for you.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Go ahead.
Is there a match to these grants?
Most of the time, it depends on the type of grants, but typically like JAG grants, it's not. It's just pretty much, if you ask for, $100,000, they may give you 50 or 60,000. So they may not give you everything you ask for, that type of thing, but it's usually not matching. It's not required anything on your part to be able to put toward it. Again, it depends on the grant, but that's typically the way it is. And there's, again, with the grants, there's particular criteria that has to be met in order to be able to do it. So just any radio communications typically won't suffice. It's usually mission critical communication that's used primarily for law enforcement, fire, EMS, that kind of thing. So as grants are put out there, firefighter, they use a FAG grant, firefighter assistant grants. They're out there for firefighters, and they're designed for stuff like for their communications and different things of their nature. And then there's forestry grants and stuff for fire. So the JAG grants are kind of geared more toward the law enforcement side. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like every 4 or 5 years we go through, I imagine because of update in equipment. I think the last one we did was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. This is pretty much under the same guideline where we had to do some upgrades.
No, what we done just prior, we just went on the 800 system and we actually borrowed, begged, and pleaded to get some 800 radios given to us to be able to just get on the system.
Okay.
That being said, we're 20 years behind when we got them radios.
So this is
kind of upgrading the system that we're on now to get where we need to be.
okay. All right.
So kind of elaborate a little bit on what Deputy Evans was saying. In 2004 and 2005, there was some Homeland Security money that came down, and radios were given to, or money was given to the county, and the county purchased radios. And so some of those radios were radios that was purchased back then, and that kind of thing. So the radios that's being proposed now is a new style radio that they have the capabilities of advancement later on, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so, much like a computer, the radios are very similar to the computers nowadays, and they have memory in them, just like your cell phone or whatever. So the memory in the older radios is not enough to house the new software to be able to do the new updated version of communication. So the new radios has that capability of being able to do that, and it has the ability to expand on that for future updates as well. So yes, sir.
And did you say a cost on this? Do you have those figures?
I don't have the figures with me tonight because that was last session we had it in, but I think it was 150,000. It was a high number. It was.
What is our time frame, Jim?
Really, to get that price that we had then, we're probably past the timeline because the 31st is the last time that we could apply for that with Motorola financing it for us, like we talked about. Because we don't have everything in place that they are asking for that. So it's it's probably a 5 or 10%. I don't know what the increase of the price would be.
Yeah. So to answer that a little bit, so one of the things that Debbie Evans talked about with the purchase of the radios, of course, any type of a capital purchase of this nature is something other that you got to go well into thought on, especially something of this magnitude and amount. So one of the things that we do as Motorola is we provide a way of being able to do financing for you and to be able to afford it, so you don't come up with $150,000 out of your pocket and that kind of thing. And so the financing option that we give can go up to 7 years and that kind of thing. The first year being in arrears, so you don't pay anything the first year. You go ahead and get the equipment, then a year later you get your first annual payment, and then you can do 3, 5, 7, whatever you want to. And of course, just like anything, you got a little interest in there with that. The pricing, I do know in January will increase just because of the price of the goods today. Shipping is going up and everything, so I do know that's the trend. There is a price increase coming in January, that kind of thing. So the other thing that doing the financing does for you is that if you apply for grants and you get them, depending on the grant verbiage, it will allow you to take that grant and pay either the financing down or pay it off, and there's no early penalty or buyout fees that's involved with that. So that's one thing that the financing gives you, is the ability to buy you time to apply for grants while you are using the equipment, that kind of thing. And so that's one of the advantages to the financing side, is gives you that time to be able to get those grants, and then once you get the grant dollars, you can apply. One thing most all grants will not do is, if you've already spent money, they won't reimburse you if you come out of your capital, only when it's a finance style.
Officer Evans, what would you expect us to do? What would you like to see us do tonight? Give you the go-ahead to start the financial options underway, or is that the next step?
That's probably would be the next step, but we have to have 2 years of audits, so we're not through with our audit yet, so we can't go forward until the audits are through. So that's why I'm saying it's gonna be, the price increase is gonna be there.
What would you like to see us do tonight?
So we can move forward.
Give you permission to go ahead and move forward?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'd like to see those figures one more time.
Okay.
Personally, I'd like to see the figures one more time, with the financing options and everything else.
Okay.
All right,
I'm more interested in grants than we are finance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
let's get that together for us. Quickly as you can, you can drop them off, so whatever.
Yes, sir. I will get them to you tomorrow if that's okay with you.
That's fine. Me
All right.
and Matthew on the finance committee will
Okay.
let you know something. I'll get the rest of the council, I'll email everybody
That's
out.
a lot of money.
All right,
I have another question.
All right.
Another
Yes, sir.
issue is with Motorola,
why are we 3 months behind?
the bill goes to the admin office. Email is sent to Mr. Goodson and Esther Burgess. Here's the email that they have received along with me that says we will be turned off on January 2nd. October, November, December has not been paid.
We'll check on that first thing in the morning.
Why are we not, that doesn't make
I
any
know
sense.
nothing about that, I'll check on it.
You
I
didn't
mean,
get the email?
this bill, we've had this bill for 10 years, if not longer. It's the same bill every month.
Right.
And they're emailing who?
They're Bill Goodson, Esther Burgess, and myself.
And they're mailing you a hard copy and they're emailing this?
They're emailing this, I know. This is the letter that was emailed that's sent to all of us.
Mr. Evans, what happens on January the 2nd?
We cannot, dispatcher cannot talk to us, and we can't talk to dispatch, therefore, our lifeline, your lifeline, when you need help, there's none.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah, we need to find this out in the morning. That's no excuse for our bills not being paid. I thought we were past our bills not being paid. All right,
And then I have a personal one, is my insurance is still not straight. My wife and children still do not have life insurance.
I don't think that goes into effect on January 1st.
It's not, I understand it don't go into effect, but they're not even listed to go into effect January 1st.
When I spoke to the head guy, Pipa, he has reassured me and sent me something saying it was done, but I'll double check on that for you.
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Jim.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we got USC SALT Leadership, Miss Marilyn Murdell. Is that correct? I apologize if I butchered your last name.
And don't worry about it. My husband says that I pronounce it wrong myself.
Okay.
It's Nordic and you roll the R. So.
Okay.
But I am Marilyn Seabrook-Meardahl, and I've been a longtime resident, born and raised in this community. I'm proud to say that I am a 2022 class member of Saucahawk Leadership. And I'm here this evening to approach the council about one of the things that we have to do in our leadership program is to do a community project. And I wanted to hear firsthand from the community here in the county level what would be some things where you feel as if I could lend my support voluntarily, as well as I have some ideas that I sent to Ms. Conner already that may be beneficial to the county.
When you say volunteer, is there a timeline that?
The Sarcastic Leadership Program is an 8-month program, and we graduate in May.
Okay.
So between now and that time, and the project may not be completely finished,
Okay.
but because of commitment and dedication, you'd want to see it through.
But you're able to put X number of hours per week or per month on the project?
Yes, yes, virtual or in person.
Okay. Well, I think we could come up with a lot.
We'll let you handle that, Mr. Robinson. You come
Well,
on.
I'd be happy to work with you in the leadership, along with what you already sent to Mrs. Conner and input from council.
The three suggestions that I made thus far was to create a community resource directory so that people will know where to go for services in the community. And another suggestion I thought about was conducting a needs assessment to find out from the citizens level what some of the needs are that are not being met at the county level. And also the third suggestion was to host a meeting with the 14th Circuit, the solicitor. I think there's an opportunity there for bringing their presence and even more greater presence here in this community. And they have some of the resources that the Sheriff Department may be looking for, but we just have not tapped into that. And I think their presence here would be an important first step. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I will be in touch.
Mr. Chairman, could I make a request?
Sure.
Anybody coming to the podium, please take your mask off. I did not understand hardly anything she said because her voice does not resonate very loud. That would really help us if you would do that.
Okay.
I can't understand you sitting close to me.
Oh, I understand, I really understand. But
Would you like me to repeat myself?
No, you're
No, I
fine.
understand.
No, I'm fine. I got a gist of it, and me and Bill and I'll get together.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Wilder Robinson.
Good evening.
Hello, hello. Look all Christmassy.
Yes, we only got 25 days to do it. Here I am knocking this down.
You did that last time, didn't you?
I did. Where is it?
It's right behind you.
Oh, thank you very kindly. Okay. Again, good evening to everyone. And thank you for allowing me to come before you tonight. I'm here to speak with you very briefly about the proposed relocation of the Voter Election Commission office. And I'm going to be brief. And it's not going to be so much about that, but it's going to be so much, what I have to share with you is about what we as citizens of this country in helping to make our democracy true for all persons. So that's why I'm here. In a few weeks, we all know that we'll be in a new year, and this new year is going to be packed with elections. It's another election year, and sometimes you wonder, when can we take a break from this election thing? But we'll have elections at all levels of the state and also in a national perspective. So being prepared for those elections that we're going to be dealing with in 2022 is very important. It's important for people who make policies, such as yourself, elected members of the council, to understand the mechanisms and the security and the accessibility that we need as citizens for our local election voting office. Local election administrators, staff, people who work with this every day, they're in charge of all the nuts and the bolts to ensure that when the election time comes, that the elections are going to be fair, they're going to be secure, and they're going to be accessible, not just to persons who can walk, but persons who can't walk or persons who have disabilities. Ensuring the integrity, gentlemen and lady, accessibility and security of the election process is essential for our democracy as citizens of the United States of America. And in our community and in our state, it's not just about what happens from Washington. It's about what happens in Allendale. We owe it to our citizens to do everything in our power to make every election safe and fair and accessible. There's nothing partisan, even though I am an officer of the County Democratic Party. It's not partisan, and it's not personal. It's about us as citizens being able to have accessibility and to know that our election vote will count. And gentlemen, you, lady, the 5 elected members of this council, it is your responsibility to look at all of the pros and the cons and make the decision that's going to be best for the citizenship of this county. I thank you very kindly. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fuller. All right, next, Ms. Renique.
Good evening. I'm here to talk about a personnel issue that I brought you on last month.
Okay, Lynn, it should have been in executive session then. Will you just ask her to stay for executive session?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Executive session, all right. All right, Ms. Renique, we'll put you in executive session. Next, we're going to go to council member reports. I guess I get to go first. First, we're going to start, well, we got, most of this is good news. Mr. Goodson and I stayed on the phone this afternoon with the auditor, and our audit's going to be complete on December 29th. The 1920 audit will be completed on December 29th. Mr. Goodson is going to pick it up from the auditor's office. He's going to take it to the Comptroller General's office, and we're going to get our money released. It's been a long process. So hopefully we're going to get, I think the number was $3,885,000, close to $4 million, hopefully. All of it will be released according to Mr., what is Hook, the name go?
Gunn,
Gunn.
He is basically the right-hand man of the comptroller.
What he told us this afternoon on the telephone was if we get him this audit, our money should be released. So that's good news for the county finally. And we're going to get our audit. We're still, what, one audit behind now?
And they're going to immediately move into getting that one.
Okay.
Did they give us a timeline on the 2020?
I'll get that once they complete, the other. But they have been compiling while they were compiling this one, so it should take over a year.
Main thing is we'll get that money released. Tax notices, approximately 100 had been addressed, corrected. The auditor's been reprinting the notices and mailing them back out. There's still about 80 tax notices with bad or missed mailing addresses. So if anyone out there watching or listening and got your tax notice, you need to contact the assessor, 584-2572. Delinquent tax sale held on December 6th. It took in $115,661.47 per the delinquent tax collector. Again, Bill, I'm going to ask you, when can we start using money from these previous sales? Because we've got like money built up in those accounts.
And I should have y'all an update by next council meeting. That's my next item on the agenda, is to get with the delinquent tax on the current bank accounts that are sitting in there, as well as when we can get some of that money in the general fund. So
Okay.
I'll have y'all an update next council meeting.
And finally, councils, for the first time since I've been on council, we've got a revenue report for the first time and an expense report. And I'll let Bill go over more of this when it's, and it looks a lot better than we thought it was going to look, so that's a good thing. And I'll let Bill go over some of this in his report. And that's all I've got. Next will be Mr. Matthew Connolly. Matthew?
I was invited Tuesday to a meeting in Fairfax. The meeting was called by Chief Marvin Williams, and Allendale City Police Chief was there, our sheriff was there, some deputies, and some other county and city officials. And there was a lot of concern about the sheriff funding, amongst other things. Sheriff's having a hard time hiring positions for the sheriff's department. Number one, because we don't pay nearly enough. Our surrounding counties are starting deputies off at $12,000 more than we currently are. So you can imagine, nobody wants to make $12,000 less when they can drive 10, 15 miles away. And they talked about some other issues that we'll talk about at a later date, but I want to challenge myself, this council, administrator, finance director. I know our next budget process should be starting soon, I hope.
I'm hoping we're going to start in January.
Yeah. I'd like to challenge all of us publicly to find some ways, whether we gotta cut fat, wherever it may be. But our emergency service personnel, we've got to do better. If not, we're not gonna have any. They're all gonna be gone. I think we're down to 6 deputies in the whole county. I think that's right, 6 maybe.
6?
Is that right, Rick? 6?
I think so. It's
Yes,
not,
it's
it
not
may
eight.
actually be less than that.
So
We're losing them. I mean, I know we got nothing,
And
a couple more talking about leaving.
Not able to rehire them. Nobody's gonna work for that little bit of money. So I know we don't have a lot of money that's our biggest issue in this county is income. But we're gonna have to dig deep and find some cuts somewhere. If not, we're not having protection. So I just challenge all of us to try to do better, for our emergency people.
Chairman, good, can I chime into something?
Yes, sir.
I met with Franklin, the fire chief, and even though the grant we got for the firefighters is coming to an end next year, he said that that same grant is available and he is gonna start working on the application next year so that we can continue. When that grant period's up, they will have the same grant offer available. And we stand a good chance, he said, of getting that grant again.
That's good news, because we're gonna start paying those full-time firefighters if we don't. Matthew, I agree with what you're saying. Hopefully, we're getting these revenue reports and looking at these accounts we got, that we can't afford, because I think all employees in this county are underpaid, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think our jailers all need to be paid more. Everybody needs to. It's hard to pay somebody more when you don't know how much money you've got in the bank.
I absolutely agree.
Okay?
And also, and this is probably gonna lead into what Ms. Ann was talking about with the leadership, with SCA's, leadership board that they have. But, I think maybe we ought to do something amongst ourselves also. I've had some residents of Allendale and Fairfax talk about the ARP money. I think it would be a good idea if we could get, a couple of members from this council, a couple of members from, maybe the mayor and a choice, and maybe the mayor of Fairfax and a choice, and come together and see if we have any common projects that we can work on, or any common projects that may be available or need to be addressed. Maybe we can, if Allendale's got a problem, Fairfax and the county, there may be some common problems that we have that we can address together, and everybody doing it together and
Matthew, this money you're referring to, is there any stipulation that says you can't use it for salaries like at the sheriff's department or first responders?
the ARP funds. You cannot use it for salary. Now, is that right? You can use
Supplementally, you can supplement.
Maybe
But
an
you
answer.
can't use it for out and out.
That's just one-time money, that's the problem. Once
Yeah.
it's gone, it's gone. You can be back to St. Square one.
Okay, that's fine.
So, I don't know if that's something that the council might be interested in, and maybe trying to form a board with the two main municipalities and see if we have any common projects.
We talked about it in length over the last 2 months or 3 months with the AARP money that the state is getting. I mean, that's the part of money that we need to be going after.
Right.
Because they're gonna receive 8.7 billion, and they're gonna actually do 2 billions in one-time projects. And that's why we've been saying, let's get a list. If we meet with the towns, fine, but I've been told the town of Allendale has already sent in their list of projects to Senator Hutto and Bright, and also to Representative Hosey. So if we don't get our name or our projects in, then we won't be considered for anything.
So you're saying the county ought to go on its own then?
I'm saying I don't mind meeting, but, there's a timeline for everything. The legislators go back in January. And I don't want to exclude the towns. I think that's a great idea, but I think we also need to,
Prioritize our
Yeah.
county first,
Sure.
and then maybe address it at a later
Absolutely.
time with the
Yeah.
municipalities.
You said ARP, would you mind telling them what that is? Because a lot of people may not know what that is, so you just using alphabets. Would you mind telling me what that is?
what we call it, I say I'm so used to saying
I know,
Senior
that
citizen.
retired senior citizen organization, but it's the American Rescue Plan.
okay, I knew what it was, but I just wanted you to say it. With all the funds that comes down from the state, I was saying it for months, like you said. American Rescue Fund, the COVID funds, if the SRP funds, but we know now Someone might not get that, but anyway, there's a lot of funds out there. We're supposed to have 3 public hearings and, for the citizens, and we're also supposed to have public hearing before we pass anything. We're supposed to get together to discuss. I thought that what we said we was gonna do, and have 3 public hearings and have, come up with some ideas on how we gonna spend the money. The citizens got a right to know how we will spend that money. And we are not doing that. It's so important, you know, that we get together. We saying money is here, but getting with Fairfax, they got theirs. You know, we're getting money in the county, but nobody know where it's going but certain people. I think we need to sit down as a team, and all the money that come in, we need to sit down and say, this is what we're gonna do. We're not doing that. We're not even doing what we're supposed to do. 3 public hearings supposed to be done in front of the citizens before we spend any money in this county. The citizen got a right to know.
I'm sure it will be done, because right now we have no idea what we're gonna get or when you're gonna
I
get
want
it.
to let you know, Mr. Carl, it's being spent though.
How we spending something we don't have yet?
Oh, some we got, but no money came down from the COVID or American Rescue Funds. We hadn't got any of those funds yet.
Well, the COVID money was spent based on
And
high expenditures.
I'm
and
sorry.
we got
We got
reimbursed.
$600,000 reimbursement.
I think you read something that what we were supposed to be getting a couple months ago in your
The
report.
American Recovery Act, we got 1.3 million, the least. Do you mind me, Chairman,
No.
do you mind me
Go ahead, go
doing
ahead.
this?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
We got 1.3 million, which was the least of any county. Barnwell and Hampton got, and Bamberg got double what we got. We could only draw down half of that, which we did. And council voted to use $400,000 of that to balance the budget last month, or excuse me, this past year, because if not, you'd have had to raise taxes. The only other part of that money that's been used was for the bonuses that council voted on. For all the employees who did all the hard work in making sure this county did not come to a grinding halt during COVID. So there's been no money spent from the American Recovery Act that this council and the public does not know about.
But no, we didn't have the 3 public hearings.
You don't need to have that.
There's a
You don't have
procedure.
that.
I thought you had to.
You don't
Okay.
have to have that.
I thought you had to follow it. I mean, it's fine.
No.
If you don't need it,
I
that's
talked to
fine.
the
But
Association of Counties today.
today, and they said that you talked about that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Goody, Councilman Goody.
Well, nothing, most of it's warm and fuzzy. The Southern Carolina Alliance had its 25th, I guess you call it silver anniversary this past week, and I think all of you were invited, and it was a very good turnout, well organized. In fact, the best bragging part that they've ever had there at Southern Carolina, but they got a lot of industrial prospects and more coming in, and the things that's going to get better for all counties, all 7 in Southern Carolina, and Jasper County. If I had a little extra money, I'd go down there and invest in some land in Jasper County, because it is going to start developing. They just announced 5 new entities down there, just announced something that Southern Carolina's been after for years, and that's that 800 acres between 17 and the area that the Jasper port may go, if it ever goes, but they're expecting, they've got people knocking down the door to put not only industry but big warehouses in there. So it's peaches and cream right at this moment, and we've got our own share of some of the projects. So it was a big event. If you missed it, you missed a good event.
Mr. Robinson?
Mr. Chairman, just quickly, I think I sent out information on our service fee that's being sent back to all counties. This has been a record year for the South Carolina Association of Counties. We will be receiving over $6,000, and that's the fee that we pay for our membership in the association. So that check should be in the mail pretty soon. Our venue for our annual meeting, that will be down in the Charleston area next year. I think Wild Dunes area, and council will be getting information on that. I'd like to piggyback on what Carl said about SCA, their 25th anniversary, a very good turnout of people. Doesn't look like they missed a day of working hard for this region. They certainly have done a good job. And of course, Jasper being in the vicinity of Savannah, there are going to be spinoffs from the Savannah area that will creep into the Jasper County area.
Before it's over with, Savannah's gonna get spent off from Jasper County.
They very well. And with the new warehouse facility that's been announced, that kind of warehouse space is going to really be attractive to a lot of companies looking to be in the southeast. So I think the future looks great industrially and economic development. I think it's going to be top of the list for this whole region, and I think Allendale will certainly benefit from that. And lastly, as we talk about the state, just want to briefly say the retirement system had a record year. I don't think we're going to see any increase. They made about 25% increase in their portfolio for the year, which is a record year. So things are looking and stabilizing. So that's good news for the counties. You may not see any increases for retirement contribution from us or from the employees. So, and that's my report, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Austin. Ms. Taylor?
Oh, Mr. Chair, I don't have anything.
All right. Mr. Goodson, your turn, administrator report.
Okay, just briefly, I just want to bring the council's attention. If y'all look at the working trial balance sheet that I printed off from July 1st of 2020 out of our accounting system, I'm just going to give council, or especially maybe Councilman Connolly, who was not on board when this started, we only showed 4 bank accounts in our accounting system that totaled a negative $6 million. They referenced Allendale County Bank, which is no longer here, Carolina Commercial Bank, which is no longer here, and cash on hand, a negative $1 million. Now, I want to be clear, this is not the balances in the bank. This is what our accounting system was showing before I started working on getting everything put into it. So, and that being said, if you look at your trial balance, it lists every bank account the county has. They have been reconciled. And currently in the general fund, as of November, we have right at $103,000. In the tax account, $319,000. Councilwoman Taylor, I know you always ask about the capital reserve account, $458.32. $458.30.
$458,000.
You can say it, yeah. We also have a CD with the capital reserve of $75,000. That renews in January. It has a low interest rate. I don't know if we need to talk to the bank about that. But long story short is, council can see every bank account now. The ones I have highlighted in yellow is the ones that I'm going to recommend that we close out and move those funds to the general account, because they've been stagnant. Nothing has happened in those accounts. It's just money sitting there. But as you can see in that period end balance column, those are the balances in those accounts. With that being said, the revenue and expense report, I know council is just used to getting an expense report that shows the budget line items and what has been spent by department. You also have a revenue report to go along with that now, and I'll touch on it briefly. In our property taxes, where we are expected to county's portion $3.3 million, we took in $191,000 in November, and for the year on just property taxes, $305,000. On delinquent taxes, this month we took in $16,000. For the year, it's been $309,000. And on vehicle taxes, $23,000 in November. For the year, $144,000. Under the state revenue column, it's going to be zero due to the fact that the state has been holding our money, which Chairman Gooding just announced will be released on the 29th. By January, all the revenue from the state will be filled in on the revenue section.
Mr. Chair, if I may, one question, how is the school doing now because of not having their funds, because?
As of when we get our tax funds in, they're getting there every month. They get a check, the hospital gets a check. And as you can, I had them go in and add even though it's not, we don't budget their money, but if you go down and look at the property tax ordinary, you can go 3 line items down, it says property tax school fund, you can see how much we've written the check. The school got $235,000. The school note was paid at $37,000, and the hospital got $18,000. So we're paying them monthly to keep them caught up, if that's your question.
Okay.
And to end that by saying, we've got just a couple of things to work out because none of this stuff was in the system, but for the month of November, our revenue was at $727,035.49. Our expenses, $865,631.42. We had a deficit for the county in November of $138,595.93. But tax revenue is beginning to come in. We will have the flow of the revenue from the state coming in. So, January, and going into the new year, we should be turning that around. And to touch on Evans's comment about the bill not being paid, I just texted the finance director, the check has already been sent. So I just want council to know that. And
Why was it 3 months behind?
I didn't ask that. I don't know that it is that. I just asked her what Evans had asked me, and she didn't say anything about it being behind, but I'll double check on that and let y'all know.
One more thing, Mr. If I may, Mr. Chair. When you combine these accounts, can you put some money back in capital reserve? Because we used to have like $1 million in capital reserve. We only got, like you say, 400 and something thousand. So when you get ready to take close out some of those accounts, is it a way you could put some of those funds back in our accounts?
I was gonna let y'all talk.
Okay, but let us know how much it is, because we need to, if you're gonna close them out, we need to set it somewhere.
Right.
And we need to know where you're gonna put it in.
Right, and if you look at the bottom, Councilwoman Taylor, I was gonna propose it going to the general fund just because until we get the state funds in and flowing, and then we can move, council can vote to move. As you know, I don't move any money into the reserve or take it out unless council votes to do that. So whatever y'all want to do, I'll be glad to do that. But right now, just to get, because we have been struggling since March with no tax revenue coming in. Tax revenue is starting to come in now. State money's coming in. So we should we should level off now and start doing good stuff.
All right. That's your report, Mr. Administrator?
Yes, sir.
All right, under old business, first we got the third reading of the ordinance repealing ordinance number 2019-004, being an ordinance to provide Allendale County Council insurance coverage.
After conversations last night with council, we're gonna postpone the reading of the third reading of that ordinance. We'll shoot to, make that third reading in January.
January? Okay. We need a motion to do that?
If we do, I'll make the motion that we postpone the third reading and move it to January.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? All right. All right, on new business.
Mr. Chair, before we move on, you didn't ask our attorney, I'm sorry. He wasn't on the agenda, whether you want him to give a report or not.
I'm sorry?
I don't have anything except for something in executive session.
I just wanted to make sure he's in knowledge.
But Judy, make sure you put attorney's report on the next agenda. Make sure you put an attorney's report on the next agenda. Omitted. I missed it as well. All right, now we got the first reading of an ordinance redistricting Allendale County pursuant to the 2020 census in name only.
Make a motion we approve, and I think for the record, we are asking based on our input from the Revenue and Fiscal Affairs of the Department of Revenue. Our district have not changed dramatically in terms of population. So this first reading will allow us to keep the district line for county council and for school board as they are today.
So I second that.
Okay. All in favor? Nays, that same right? Motion is approved. Okay.
You got a question?
What? Sorry?
I have a question, if I may. The council is voting on the first reading of the,
In name only, yes, ma'am.
How long?
and when will the citizens have an opportunity for that to be explained to them or shown to them?
Okay,
Third reading.
third reading.
Public hearing.
Or second reading, well, we can do a second reading next time meeting, if that's fine. I mean, basically what it, this was,
You got public input,
Yeah.
just like on any budget, same way, you know.
And may I say something?
go ahead.
There's a deadline, March 16th, that we have to have all three readings and the public hearing, so, you know, we have a deadline of March 16th to get that in, so.
And of course, that will be publicized, so the citizens will.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Motion on executive session?
I'll make a motion to remove into executive session.
Second.
Favor?
Aye.
Nay. Executive session. Let's go.
Chairman, make a motion with adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
Happy
All in favor?
holidays to
Yes, sir.
everyone.
Happy holidays, Mr.
Thank
Robinson.
you.
Done.